For more than 20 years now, agencies of the executive branch have been on a journey to evolve the government employee travel experience so it features more hallmarks of commercial business travel and less government bureaucracy. The first generation of eGov travel service saw the elimination of fully custom agency-developed travel management systems and the adoption of commercial systems. The second generation, referred to as ETS2 and which we're reaching the end of right now, saw further refinement of software as a service, as well as greater standardization and simplification of associated processes and procedures. Welcome to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services ETSNext Weekly Open House. Let's start by first taking a moment to familiarize ourselves with managed travel services available to executive branch employees. The two forms of service consist of an eGov travel service and a travel management service. ETSNext is the government-wide project to replace the current generation of eGov travel service and travel management service with contemporary commercially available offerings. Now, let's review quickly some key recent evolutions in the realm of government travel that have occurred. For just over 28 years now, the government has used a series of reforms, new approaches, and initiatives to evolve how its workforce travels. You're likely most familiar with the ETS2 initiative, which is the current generation of eGov travel services. Almost immediately after the General Services Administration awarded the ETS2 master contract in 2012, that agency began activities to prepare for the next generation of eGov travel service. GSA, as the Federal Integrated Business Framework's travel line of business lead, worked with federal agencies, including the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, to develop the 5 travel line of business components that strategically standardized all aspects of government travel, including travel data and information, travel services and systems, and travel governance. ETSNext will fully implement this standardized approach to executive branch travel. Here's how this will happen. ETSNext will be implemented first at 5 agencies, ranging in size from small to large. These initial operating capability agencies, or IOCs, will be the test beds for the ETSNext eGov travel service. The rest of the executive branch agencies are labeled as full operating capability agencies, or FOCs. Once the 5 IOCs are configured and functional, operating details and challenges will be worked through. Then the rest of the FOCs will implement the ETSNext eGov travel service through a series of 3 consecutive 14-month implementation projects. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has been selected by the General Services Administration for Phase 1 implementation. Before we move on, take a moment to consider today's date and where we're at on this timeline. As you can see, ETSNext is right around the corner. HHS was selected as a Phase 1 FOC because of its domestic travel volume, its interest in implementing ETSNext early, and because it is an advisory to the IOCs. Our project starts here December 1st, 2024, and must be completed by February 1st, 2026. We've already started orienting the department toward this, but we're still going to have to accomplish a lot of work in a very short time. The strategic approach to ETSNext will make this achievable. Many of the activities of a service of this magnitude have already been decided through the Federal Integrated Business Framework's processes. For example, we won't have to develop requirements or technical specifications. We also won't have to award a contract for the service because GSA will be our service provider. This approach is very similar to how commercial travel products are brought to life and brought to market. Let's take a look at what we know is different about ETSNext compared to the current ETS2 state. There will likely be other differences as well, and we'll learn more about these after GSA awards the contract and the IOCs begin their implementations. A benefit to HHS serving as an IOC advisor is that we'll get an inside look at ETSNext as it develops, and we'll have some influence in this. Right now, we don't know exactly what the ETSNext eGov travel service will look like, but every effort is being made to be responsive to what GSA has heard from customers. Over the years, customers across the government have voiced that they want a travel experience similar to what the commercial business sector enjoys. They want greater control over their own travel and less bureaucracy. GSA's plan is to provide agencies with a contemporary ETS that delivers to the customer's requests. The aim is to provide a true software-as-a-service experience, similar to commercial travel applications one might use to arrange their own personal travel. The department fully supports this vision and is making every effort internally right now to reduce bureaucracy and layers in preparation for ETSNext. We'll have more information about the eGov travel service as soon as GSA awards the contract at the end of this summer. It's important to understand that self-service will be key to realizing the strategic vision and being responsive to customer requests. For more than 20 years now, the federal travel regulation has set 70% as the hallmark for self-service. This means that 70% of an agency's total trips should be prepared, arranged, and filed by the employee who travels, and they should do this without any assistance from another person. Self-service produces greater employee satisfaction, greater accuracy, less administration and bureaucracy, fewer improper claims and payments, and timely processing of claims and payments. To ready for this, every employee should make effort between now and February 1st, 2026 to master these 3 skills in the current eGov travel service. 1. Prepare a travel authorization. 2. Arrange travel using the online booking engine. And 3. File a travel voucher to claim travel expenses. An employee who can do these 3 activities now will find they're able to use the ETSNext eGov travel service without much difficulty. In the technical area, the next difference will be how the eGov travel service will be connected to the department's 3 financial management systems. We'll establish a single application programming interface to connect them, which will greatly reduce our need to service and manage the integration middleware. There will be a change to how we obtain the services of a travel management service as well. With ETSNext, we'll award our own TMS contract by using the GSA Multiple Award Schedule. The service will provide basic travel reservation and fulfillment services, clinical care travel for patients, HHS crisis response travel, and executive travel support, formerly VIP services. Our ETSNext support construct will largely be unchanged, but with one key difference. The HHS support construct will continue to have 3 tiers, including Tier 0, self-help, where job aids, videos, and other help will be available through the Travel and Relocation Information Portal, or TRIP site. Tier 1 is through the One DHHS Help Desk, a script-based support service. Tier 2 will remain available, but that's where we'll see our greatest change in support. Most, if not all, of the activities to operate the eGov travel service will be performed by travel system technicians of the Travel CSQ. They'll operate and maintain the eGov travel service and provide direct program and individual user services, including travel document troubleshooting, report development and production, and travel system administration as the department's privileged users. Internally centralized support will reduce program resource burdens, reduce rework, and foster ETS security, availability, or integrity risk reduction while providing quality customer support. Finally, we're striving to get out as much information as possible to everyone across the department. Your operating division ETSNext ambassadors are your lead federal agency travel administrators. You can also find information about the HHS ETSNext implementation project on the Travel and Relocation Information Portal, or TRIP site. The TRIP site is accessible to everyone. If you find that you can't access the site, just submit a case to the ITIO support desk to ask for access. Now that we've completed our overview, what questions do you have about ETSNext?